If you just now tuning in, hit the like, hit the subscribe, and hit the bell. GMS fam, the green room. Let's talk about it. GMS fam, the green room. What's going on, y'all? Happy Monday. We are back to the regular week. As always, I would like to start off every show with peace, love, positive energy, good vibes, passing it forward, and hoping that you pass it along as well. GMS fam, the green room, if you would be so kind and tap into the live chat, let me know you are here. I would like to know that you are tuning in, and also let me know where you tuning in from, man. Shout out your city. Let me know where you at all around the world, man. Shout out to my GMS fam. Areas, baby G in the building. Glow is in the building. Vale is in the building. What's happening? Good afternoon. Back to the regular week. We got some topics to talk about, man. I think I pulled up Friday, but that was just so that we can discuss the things that happened that took place during the vote and the debate during legalization of cannabis in Minnesota. So we didn't really get a chance to really send off Carolyn Bryant Dunham the way that we should have, as a conglomerate of people. I wanted to really send her off the right way. You know what I mean? I wanted to make sure that we said our goodbyes the right way. We didn't really get a chance to do that. So we're going to get a chance to do that today, later on in the show. But there's a couple other things that I need to discuss before we get there. Shout out to Infinite Umbra. Now, first thing today on the agenda, because a lot of today's show is going to be based around, family and relationships and how people deal with that and what people have going on, because a lot of people seem to forget that, just because somebody is your family doesn't mean that they're good for you, doesn't mean you got to be around them, right? And I've seen many cases like this in my lifetime, whether it be my own personal experience or just people's experience around me, And one thing that I've realized is that you should never brainwash yourself into thinking that you have to honor somebody because they're your family. And I say that in the way that, in the sense that you have not a good relationship with that family member. I don't encourage people to try to, beat a dead horse, so to speak. I do encourage people to try, though, when it comes to certain situations, like you and your family beefing over some petty shit. There was some words exchanged, whatever. Man, fix that shit. That ain't nothing. But if you have somebody who is constantly doing you wrong, constantly showing that they don't actually love or care about you, and really don't give a damn about your well-being, I don't hold it against you to be like, you know what, I love you, family, but I'm gonna love you from a distance. You know, and some people don't get that because people have been kind of brainwashed their whole life to believe that they're supposed to stick it out with people because that's their family. It's like, no, you don't have to do that. You don't. You have to protect your peace of mind while you are here on this earth. And if that means getting rid of pieces of the puzzle that have to do with your blood, then you can do that. And I encourage that for the people to maintain their peace of mind and their, you know, all that good shit that comes around it. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because recently, legendary R&B singer Brian McKnight has gotten a lot of backlash for his recent posts, and not even just recent posts, but I guess a post he made back in January that just caught traction and people being like, hold up, that didn't seem right. People kind of having to remember that he had, you know, adult children already in this world, and they started going back to his Instagram and kind of realizing, well, he doesn't really acknowledge these kids. And you know, some people may ask, well, how do you know he doesn't acknowledge those kids? Well, he has in his Instagram bio the names of his children, and those names that are missing are of his biological children, 3 of them, 2 boys and a girl. One of those boys being named Brian McKnight Jr., which he named his newborn son Brian McKnight Jr., and with a caption, and that it sent social media on a whirlwind. Now, excuse me, you have to ask yourself, you know, what makes a person, and not just a person, but a father, react to his children that way? And there could be many variables. You know, I believe that the kind of crowd that comes this way, that listens to the GMS show, kind of are in tune with some other aspects of life when it comes to people having to try to be together and it not working out. And, you know, they may leave that whole family just to go raise another family. Now, with that, that's wrong. I don't condone people doing that type of shit. That's to me is not being a man. That's when you purposefully escape from your family so you can go raise another one. I'm not with that. But if there's a situation where you and the mother don't get along and y'all have to separate, but you're still there for your kids, cool. The kids may not get it, but you can grow up to understand, yeah, once they start going through life and once they start going through relationships and once they start dealing with their own situations, then they'll start to get it, because kids don't necessarily understand until it happens to them. You know, kind of for me in my personal situation, that's kind of how it happened for me, to skip me out of the mentality of, oh, my parents aren't together and, you know, why did my dad want to be together with my mom, to, oh, there were bigger reasons than that to care about than 2 people not wanting to be together. I understand that. You know what I'm saying? It's not even about trying to force people to be together. It's about what happened in between time. You know what I'm saying? And what happened to that structure that broke it apart. So with this situation, I'm going to have to play you a little bit of what Brian McKnight said about his kids. It was a clip that came out 3 years ago because, you know, this has been a topic of conversation before. This is the first time it got brought up. 3 years ago, Brian McKnight had to make a statement about what was going on because, of course, people had the assumption that he was just a deadbeat dad or that he just disowned his kids just because and wanted to move on with his new family, who are Spanish, I believe. And not that that's funny, but it's like that's the narrative that's running around. But this is what I want y'all to hear first, and I want y'all to see if y'all can build something around this here.
I have always been the sounding board, and I've always been the one that tried to help them achieve whatever dreams they were wanting. I guess one of my only faults is that I gave my children everything that I didn't have in the hopes that they would appreciate it, because I know how much I would have appreciated it. I would tell you, as parents out there, entitling your children is probably one of the worst things you can do, and I know I am guilty of that. Tough love is a tough thing as a parent to try to institute to your children. You want to help them as much as you can, and I did as much as I possibly could. When I stopped doing that for them, BJ was 25 and Nico was 22. And it wasn't like I completely cut them off at that point. That happened much later. When I put them out of my house, I gave them an apartment for 2 years. I said, guys, This is it. This is the time to grow up. I'm giving you 2 years. I'm going to pay for everything for 2 years, but you're going to have to work or do something, because at the end of those 2 years, that's going to be it. It's time to be men. It's time to grow up. At the end of those 2 years, they hadn't done any of it. It was just right around the time that Leilani and I had gotten together. Leilani was working at Children's Hospital. Leilani has been one of the only people who's been an advocate to keeping us together, because she wants to have the nuclear family as much as I did. And they have spit in her face at every turn. She got them jobs at the hospital, $18 an hour with benefits. They said, and I quote, that they knew they didn't want to stop smoking and they would have to pass a drug test. Which is fine. If you want to smoke, that's fine. I'm not saying that that's bad. If that's your choice, that's your choice. But what I'm telling you is that we have been advocates for them every step of the way.
I'm definitely not the first son to have a dispute with his dad. The only difference is my dad happens to be Brian McKnight. Because he's this love songwriter and he's this incredible legend that we all know, it's kind of easy to build a false sense of, oh, I know who you are.
But do you regret, like, making it public that you were having issues with your father?
Not at all. You figure I write about this in my music. You know, I write books about this. I want to be a son of someone like that can finally have a platform to tell people how we feel.
Have you talked face to face and made it all good?
We've tried. There's some things that need to be worked out.
Right.
And I just think it's one of those things where you figure I'm 30 now, and it's going to be more than a father-son. It's a man talk.
He said they got to have a man talk. Now, see, I understand that from his standpoint as a son, but then hearing that video from 3 years ago, it made me think, well, if, you know, we can eliminate the deadbeat part of it, I guess, because if you're taking care of your kids, you're taking care of your kids, especially when you have them in your home past 18, and not to encourage people to just kick your kids out at 18. You got to make sure they got the sense to want to go out there and get for themselves and make sure that they, trying to get on track with the shit. But to have them in the home in their 20s, give them the chance to get on their feet, because a lot of people don't have the option to have their rent paid for 2 years. A lot of people do not have that option. And then when you give them the option to do so that they can take care of what they need to take care of, and then they don't do it, well, then I would feel like, well, I gave you the option. You didn't want to do it. Life is on you now as an adult, right? But one thing that I don't get from that is disowning them and throwing them to the side. Now, what I feel like happened from that and why he's acting like that is because children decide to go to the internet to put your business out there, and it makes it 100 million times worse for the entire situation, because you're bringing in the outside opinions of others. And on top of that, it seems like you want to get in front of something so that you can demonize the person that you're trying to aim at. Now, once again, let me reiterate, I do not get the disowning part of it. I don't know why he disowned these kids. I don't know why. But it's very telling when it comes to certain situations. Now, he has a daughter or stepdaughter. Well, he has a biological daughter, but his stepdaughter, right? It was her birthday, I believe. Or no, not her birthday. She was visiting campus. This is her. This is his stepdaughter from the new marriage that he has. This is what he writes. Now, mind you, like I said, he has a biological daughter. So when I read you this post, remember that. Brian McKnight said, "Jules, I became a girl dad because of you, and I couldn't have asked for a better daughter. Visiting you on campus and seeing how happy you are living in this beach house with all of your friends for your senior year reminded us both of how proud we are of the woman you have become and the incredible student you continue to be. Here's to you, Jules, the perfect daughter I always wanted." That is where things start to get a little tricky. And it starts to make me think that Brian McKnight is a little bit of a vindictive asshole. Because not only did you make that post, but let me let you in on a little something about this. The very campus that she's at his biological daughter attends or attended. One of the two. Ask me, has he been there to visit her one time? So I can understand how the kids may feel some type of way and may want to put some things on blast. That to me is a little weird. Not to mention, Brian McKnight posted a picture of his son. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Oh, wait, let me read this one. Let me read this one real quick. This is another one about his stepdaughter. He said, "Today we celebrate you, Jules, on your birthday. Your mom and I couldn't be prouder of you, and I couldn't ask for a better daughter than you. Happy birthday to the best daughter ever. Love you a zillion." And I have to read you the post that he made about Brian McKnight Jr., his newborn son. If I could I need to find it. I need to know where it's at. I need to find it, because that post was wild. Let me see, man. Let me see if I can find this son post. That's he was kissing the little boy on the forehead, his son, not to sound weird. But he was kissing his son on the forehead, and it had this caption on it that it was like, it made it seem like he only had one son and only one Brian McKnight Jr. Where is this shit? Oh man, I can't find it. Why can't I find this motherfucker? Oh man, why wouldn't the internet have that as like the first shit? That don't make no damn sense. That should have been the first picture. Oh damn, this is the one where he bought his stepdaughter a car. Yeah, I gotta show this one too. This is funny as hell. He brought his he bought his stepdaughter a car. That was the birthday gift, and that's what made people be like, well, you telling your kids they got to go out here and fend for themselves, and you telling them that they can't live off you, but this fully grown woman you buying cars for and paying her way through college. Seems a little off to me. Let me see. Is this the other guy? All right, yeah, this is the other guy. But let me see if I can find this shit, man. Where is the picture of him in the child, bro? I cannot find it. Maybe if I type son. Let me see if I can find it. Brian McKnight. First thing that popped up. Should have did that in the first place. There we go. So sentimental. Such a sentimental picture. The caption goes, "A letter to our son. Dear baby Brian, every time I look at you and kiss on you, I'm feeling feelings that I did not know I could possess. An overabundance of love between a father and his legacy that cannot be measured. You see, I never was a sentimental man, not until I met your mommy and fell head over heels in love with her. And because of our love for one another, I realized my true reason for being here on this earth, and it's to be her loving, faithful husband and to create the legacy of that love. My namesake, my joy, my baby boy." That's what it says at the end. You, Brian McKnight Jr. How you gonna have two Brian McKnight Jr.'s, man? And it was funny because people were like, "Well, you know, George Foreman named all his sons George." Nigga, he don't disown none of his children. George Foreman got 31 George Foremans, and he love all them niggas. There's only two Brian McKnight Jr.'s, and one is disowned. That to me sounds a little wild. Now, just to break down this whole situation, let me bring in my Rainbow Coalition, bring the Rainbow Coalition in So they can, because they describe it. They the first ones to describe all this shit best, man. They got all the news. They got all the tea, so to speak. Listen to him break this down real quick. Watch
Internet is now dragging singer Brian McKnight after he named his child Brian. Well, here's the thing. He already has another son that he doesn't have a relationship with anymore by the same name, Brian.
Uh-oh.
It's so crazy how certain things get trending. He posted back in January of this.
Hey, yo. Somebody said he started back at 1. Brian McKnight started back at 1. Avenue P said he can still write. Yeah, that was a cold letter to his son, wasn't it? I ain't gonna lie, that was cold. That was cold. That boy Brian McKnight, talented motherfucker, ain't he?
This year, giving praise to his new son that he has with his new wife, which led people to kind of dig up old stories about Brian McKnight and how he left his old families behind. You can pause the video to read the full statement. However, it's the second paragraph where he talks about the child and says, the legacy of that love, my namesake and my joy, my baby boy, you. He has a son, Brian McKnight Jr. This is Brian McKnight Jr. He's also a singer. And you can always count on Twitter to break down how the situation unfolded. So Brian McKnight was married to Julie McKnight, had 2 sons, Brian Jr. and Nico, with her, cheated on her with Patricia Driver, and had a daughter, Brianna McKnight, who Julie treated like her own, disowned all of them, got a new wife and stepkids, and didn't look back.
Look at this nigga face, bro. Yeah, that's exactly how it went down. It seems that way now. I hear the excuses, valid excuses when it comes to, not wanting to continue to feed money to your adult children. That I think we all can understand. But then when you look at how he's treating the situation, it looks more than that. It looks more personal and more vindictive than that. So I can only say that Brian McKnight is a very interesting character. I don't know. I really don't understand why he is doing what he is doing, why he's treating his kids the way that they are, or the way that he is. But it's very, very weird. And to continue on with the relationship conversation, one person who had similar type of things happen in his life was a comedian by the name of Steve Harvey. We all know Steve was married beforehand, and he cheated on his wife with his now new wife, who everybody says stuck it out for a more personal reason. Because why would you stick with the man who cheated on his first wife with you as a side chick and then think that he's going to marry you and be faithful to you, all this other shit? But her past ain't like a lot of other women's past. I think she understands the concept of wealth and longevity and trying to secure the bag. If you don't know about his new wife's background. Now, he's been catching a lot of flack because of what he decided to say on Shannon Sharpe's podcast. And people have been reminding Steve that it was him that left his family to go take care of another family. Listen to what Steve had to say.
At one time, well, I was laughing so hard. You said you paid for a divorce. Yeah. I said, this dude right here was committed.
But see, I want people to think she was getting a divorce already. I didn't break the home up.
I don't give a damn.
Because you know how people take it and run with it.
Yeah.
She was getting a divorce.
And him all the money.
Right.
What's wrong with that?
Right.
I'm trying to invest in my future.
Right.
See, these dudes kill me. That's what's wrong with this generation today. These young boys today, what do she bring to the table? The hell you mean, man? What do your ass bring to the table? You got a woman that can come to the table that can make another you. What else she need to slide up to the table with? What about your job? What happened to men who were supposed to be responsible? Do you know that it's our job to take care of a woman and some children, to have a family? That's our damn job.
Now, Steve, I fuck with the sentiments. But what I don't fuck with is the fact that you condone, and for one, a motherfucker paying for another woman's divorce when there are clearly other single, unmarried, ungetting divorced ass women out here that Shannon Sharpe could have chose from. A fucking NFL player, ex-NFL player, millionaire, entrepreneur, business. Why are you paying for another woman's divorce just so you, and ask yourself, this is the reason why them two men sitting there having this conversation and what they said was so fucking stupid, because ask yourself, is Shannon with that woman that he paid for that divorce with? Is Shannon with that woman? Where is that woman? Talk about investing in your future. That was a bad investment, my nigga. A very bad investment. You paid for another woman's divorce only to not have her in your life. Clearly, that was wrong. And then, on the other hand, to sit here and say, what else does a woman need to bring to the table besides being able to create another you? Well, Steve, I'm sure you didn't want to be with your first wife because she had qualities that you did not like. Right? Is that what made you go out and do what you did and marry the new woman that you were with and take on the responsibilities of taking care of her kids? Is that what happened? Because clearly you were just trying to do your job and somebody was trying to prevent you from doing your job, so you went on to do another job somewhere else. See, I like when people give advice. And you can be somebody who went through it and give the advice on how to do better and how to maneuver through that. I appreciate all of that. But there's a certain way to do it. Some of these guys be sounding like they ain't never did no fuck shit ever in their life. And then on top of that, will have excuses for the shit that they did while telling people to do right by certain standards. I don't want to hear no excuse. Keep it real. Say you didn't have the mindset of a man that wanted to take care of his family, and you wanted to do what you wanted to do because you started to become famous and you started to get money and you wanted to experience more of life in the way that you wanted to. That's what it seemed like to me. Now, Steve, I mean, I do believe that if you are a man that gives a fuck about your family, if you love your woman and you want to be with her for the rest of your life, then you have a responsibility as a man to do what you can as a man, do what you're supposed to as a man. Take care of your family, do what you need to do. That's that. But don't make it seem like women should not have qualities and should not be able to do anything at all besides sit around and go. Towards the end of one of these rants talking about why can't you just go get your nails done? That's cool. You can go get your nails done, but don't think that your life consists of waking up and doing nothing all day. What type of mentality are you breeding in this new generation? It's not the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s. We already know how that went. Do y'all know what stir crazy means? Do y'all know what happens when you keep somebody confined all day? Doesn't matter if it's a woman or a man. Eventually they will spiral. Eventually a problem will occur. I don't know one person in my life that just likes to sit at the crib all day. I don't. Especially in this new age. Now, I'm not saying that you guys got to do, whatever the fuck whatever. Find your standards and run with that. But don't listen to Steve Harvey. I'm telling you that right now. Find somebody who wants to be your partner. Find somebody who wants to be there for you and be there with you when times are great and when times are bad. Don't find nobody that just skip out because they can. You got to find somebody that's really down for you. And on top of that, a lot of people don't understand, and I know I may go a little off topic, but people think that they have to find the right one right away, or that they have to jump into something right away quickly, or try to fall in love quickly. It's like you don't understand. It takes years to get to know somebody. And the reason is because as the years go on, people continue to progress. They continue to grow. They continue to learn. They continue to become a different person. A lot of people do not stay the same their entire life. People experience more things. People go and try to, be something greater than what they are. And it takes stepping out of your comfort zone. It takes, not having the same mentality you had 10 years ago, 5, 2. You got to continue to grow, and people are going to continue to grow and become different people as you are with them. You have to continue to learn your partner. Who you decide to spend your life with is going to come with ups and downs. These are the relationship conversations that need to be had. It's a lot of one-sided shit going on because niggas is in certain positions in life and forgetting that not everybody is in that same position. Why is somebody trying to encourage somebody to pay for a woman's divorce when most of these niggas don't even want to pay for their own divorces? That's crazy. That's crazy advice. Don't take that advice. If you mess it with a woman that's going through a divorce, you're not going to be with that woman for the rest of your life. I guarantee you that. I guarantee you that. Hit, have some fun, do what y'all do, and then move around. It's not worth it. Let Shannon be your example. That woman is nowhere to be found, but a story in his memory. Now, speaking of a story in our memory, this is a story that burns in a lot of people's memory. A lot of people's memory. This woman, Carolyn Bryant Dunham, she was the woman who was responsible for what led to the murder of Emmett Till. She basically was the one who murdered Emmett Till, along with the white supremacist, racist Klansmen who were involved as well. She lived a very long life. She died at 88. What happened to Emmett Till happened in 1955 or 1954, I believe. 1954, 1955. But it happened in the 1950s. Emmett Till was 14 years old. And this woman got to live her life out with nothing more than scrutiny on her name. Being as she is a white woman, I don't think that affected her very much. We don't know much about her family, the people that supposedly loved and cared about her. Imagine that. Imagine being one of these new millennium kids, teenagers, 18, 20-year-old adults, and your great-grandmother or your great-aunt is the woman who was responsible for the death, the brutal death and murder of Emmett Till. Imagine that. How would you react? Would you still love the? And this circles back to what I originally was talking about in the top of the show, about family and who you consider family, and how you would look at a certain family member under certain circumstances. How would you feel if this was your family member? If you know that this is what they did? I know we have a lot of people that may be contradicting in this sense, because we might have some people that we know that are family members that went out here and killed people. And you know, we turn a blind eye to it and keep it moving. Oh yeah, that's just my cousin, or yeah, that's just, you know. But how would you feel? I hope this woman's gravesite gets pissed on every day to the point that it's just a brown, yellowish patch over where they bury her fucking body at. This woman's soul does not deserve to rest, and she does not get to die and have Emmett Till's name die with it. We must continue to talk about the situation and continue to make sure that people know who she is and who he is, most importantly. Now, if anybody has any last words for Carolyn Bryant Dunham, please put them in the live chat. I would love to read those off. Now, let's keep going, man, because before we move to another topic, I will say this. One person that had something to say was a family member. It was a cousin of Emmett Till. A cousin, right? Who went on Facebook to write this. Statement on the death of Carolyn Bryant Dunham. Our hearts go out to the family of Carolyn Bryant Dunham. As a person of faith for more than 60 years, I recognize that any loss is tragic and don't have any animosity toward her. Even though no one will be held accountable for the death of my cousin and best friend, it is up to all of us to be accountable to challenges we will face in overcoming racial justice. To me, my good sir, Wheeler Parker, the cousin of Emmett Till, the supposed cousin and best friend of Emmett Till, I'm sorry, but I am very sure that the soul of Emmett Till wouldn't give a damn if you shit on that woman and her death. The last time you saw Emmett Till was when he was 14 years old. You haven't seen him since. How does that make you feel? That was your best friend. That was your family. How would you feel? That's all I want to know. I don't understand the and people try to use their faith as a way to justify these certain statements. But I'm sorry, I couldn't let live. I couldn't let live. Somebody who did wrong by me or my family, I'm sorry. But we only have one life to live. And I'm going to live my life how I live my life. You know, and once again, I don't want to encourage anybody to live with hate in their heart. But I'm sorry, I wouldn't be able to make that statement on behalf of her life and her loved ones. It's fuck you to the day that you till the day you die and after. In my opinion. Now, speaking of that, speaking of being F you to the day that you die and after, this situation caught my eye. I posted it earlier on my channel. A comedian and an actor by the name of Charlie Newark. You probably know who he is. He's been on Craig Facts before. Charlie started to go viral a couple days ago because his story started to catch traction. And he was on a podcast called the Community Service Podcast, where he told the story about the time his ex-wife tried to kill him and his son after an argument because he wanted to leave and not engage in it, and she wanted him to stay there and listen to her. I want y'all to hear this story and then listen to how her life turned out afterwards.
Yeah, I got shot when I was 23. I married a young lady that everybody was telling me not to, but I was like, look, y'all don't understand our love, okay? Just chill. It was like, all right, you gonna see. And we got into a major argument. And I don't effectively know how to argue with women, because whenever they can just say some shit to just crush your whole world. So we get to a huge argument one day and I try to leave. And the first time I tried to leave, like, she ran out the house and, like, hit the windshield with a shovel and, like, shattered the windshield. When I tried to leave, I was like, okay, I think.
Oh, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, I think she a little off.
First of all, look at her face. And no disrespect, Charlie, but you can look at her and tell that she has murder on her mind. YMW Melly. She's YMW Kelly. She definitely got murder on her mind with that big ass fucking head.
Yeah, so not too long after that, we get into another argument.
Bevo Lottie got more head than she got body.
And I leave, and I had a pistol in the kitchen. I was living in the hood in Inkster, Michigan. So I had a pistol on deck at all times, so she wouldn't grab it. Like, you're not gonna leave this time. You're gonna listen to me finish this argument. No, I'm not. I'm gonna leave. So I turned to leave. I was holding our son at the time, right? I turned to leave. She shoots me in the forearm. The bullet goes through my forearm and goes across his forehead and then out the front window, right? And then I'm looking at her like, I can't believe. I'm looking at my son, his face is bleeding, my arm's bleeding. I'm looking like, what? And before I set my son down and I look, she's got the gun pointed at my head.
That ain't lipstick. That's just how her lips look. The bitch is evil.
Yeah, bro. And I'm like, okay, I'm ready to leave. All I could do was close my eyes and all I heard was click. And nothing came out the gun.
Oh.
So then she's messing with the gun trying to, and the only thing I can think of, like if I try to run, she go shoot me in the back. So I just ran towards her and just turned into a UFC maniac. And whop, whop. I hit her a few times, took the gun. But dude, staring down the barrel of that gun, I think is what, like, my whole perspective on everything changed. Like the way I see
Did
the
she
world.
go to prison?
Oh yeah, she did some time. A few months ago, I did a podcast.
She did 3 years for that specific incident. She did 3 years for almost killing her ex-husband and her son. 3 years. That's it. Now, fast forward.
Podcast talking about how my ex-wife shot me. A clip of that video went viral. Here it is. Now, if you know that story, you know that I was holding our 2-year-old son during an argument. My ex-wife pulled a gun on me, shot me in the forearm. The bullet went through my forearm, grazed his forehead. Then she pointed the gun at my face and squeezed the trigger, and the gun jammed. God protected me. What you don't know is that I divorced her immediately. I got custody of our son, and she did 3 years in prison. She went on with her life. I went on with mine. Quick update, she just got arrested for murdering her boyfriend. It's all over the news. A Georgia woman was arrested years after the body of a man was found in an Alabama shallow grave.
Years.
Long story short, she found out her boyfriend was cheating, shot him in the head 3 times while he was asleep. All right, here's the moral of the story. If you find out somebody is cheating on you, just leave. If you're in an abusive situation, just leave. And also, always stay prayed up.
Now, I know Charlie has told this story before, but like I said, it had just made its rounds around social media a couple days ago. It just started going viral. Somebody posted on TikTok. Now, what I have to say about this situation, for one, please understand that it's not a stereotype when you see somebody that looks crazy. If they look crazy, most times they are crazy. You can tell who is, I'm sorry, but you can tell, bro, if it's that obvious, especially if it's that obvious. Look at her. She looks like she does spells at night before she goes to sleep. She looks like she floats when she's in a deep slumber. Like she just floats with her legs straight out like this, like the fucking Exorcist. She literally looks like somebody who sounds like Little Nicky when she snores. She looks like an evil. Yes, the bride of Chucky. She looks like the bride of Chucky. Literally. Now, think about this. That could have been Charlie. That could have been Charlie. You want to know how fucked up the situation is? If she would have killed Charlie and possibly her son, then she would have been doing life in prison, and then the boyfriend who she ended up killing would probably still be alive today. Now, as messed up as that sounds, that's just the reality of the situation. Charlie got very lucky. By the grace of God, him and his son made it out. And I'm glad that they gave him full custody. And it's crazy because I think that that's what it fucking takes for a man to get full custody, is for a woman to actually almost fucking kill him. Can't be no other petty shit that women usually get full custody of their children for when it comes to a man wanting to be in their child's life. But he got lucky, man. Very lucky. And I want to say those instances, man, like the people like her who hear, oh, I'm walking out, I'm leaving, I'm not staying here to listen to your crazy ass. Crazy women love to sit and be crazy in front of you. So when you want to walk the fuck away, you want to leave, they don't want you to leave because they want you to hear how fucking crazy they sound. You don't leave until I finish. What? What type of psychotic mother complex do you have where you think that you can keep a grown man somewhere he doesn't want to be? That shit's wild to me. But I'm thankful that this man got out of that situation, him and his son. That could have been a very horrific situation. And I'm very glad that he made it out of that situation. Trey says certain book covers are just red flags, racist, crazy, and thoughtish. Wilt said she looked like she'd a plant from Little Shop of Horrors. Goddamn. JR said they didn't mention spider sense to people for no reason. We really have that ability as humans. If your chakra's on point, that is a fact. That is a big fact. A big fact. You know what I'm saying? We all have the ability to have intuition. It's just, how do you use that intuition, or do you act upon that intuition? A lot of people don't act upon their intuition, and it leads them to stay in a situation that will ultimately put them in a fucked up place. You know, I encourage people to listen to their intuition, listen to that inner thought, listen to what it is, listen to the warning signs. The warning signs. Some people don't want to give up on people. And it's like, why do you have that mentality in a world full of people? The concept is so easy to grasp, but when you brainwash an entire community of people, not just a community, but the entire human race, into believing one construct of love and relationships, you end up with a bunch of psychotic motherfuckers. See, this is a woman that needed a submissive man who was scared of her. If she had a submissive man who was scared of her, she could have coexisted in a relationship. Now, I guarantee you, the guy that cheated on her, who got killed, was somebody who wanted to get out of that situation but didn't know how to. And the only way that he could feel free was to move around in silence. Because I guarantee in their past relationship, the man who was murdered, he tried to have conversations. He probably tried to leave, and she probably did not let him and threatened him and probably harmed him at one point. Because you don't just go from argument to killing somebody. You have to be somebody who is already a violent person. Like Charlie said, the first thing that happened before she did the shit when she shot him and grazed her son's forehead. She ran after him outside and smashed his window in his car with a shovel. Now, why you would want to stay with somebody like that is a very big question. Now, there are some guys out here who will drive somebody crazy. That's possible. You can drive somebody crazy. You can do things and know you're manipulating somebody and know that you're manipulating the situation for your best interest, only to drive somebody nuts and have them do some nuts shit. But there's also crazy motherfuckers in life. And this bitch right here is a crazy motherfucker. And I'm glad that she is locked up right now. She doesn't need to be in society. She doesn't even need to be in prison. She needs to be off. I feel like there's a section of the world that has like a dark cloud over it, and it's like some voodoo shit going on because this bitch is still alive. I feel like she's like the final boss of fucking crazy witch, kung fu witch bitches who fucking go crazy because they don't get their way. If she was to be taken out of this earth right now, I feel like there'll be a dark cloud lifted from over the fucking planet, and we could be able to coexist a little better. A little bit more of the evilness in this world will probably perish. You know, I think she has a spell on a lot of people. I think she's the final boss of that shit. Let's get this bitch out of here. Let's fucking write a petition to whatever prison she's at and tell them, hey, if you don't have the death penalty, bring it back for this bitch. She needs it. Let's get her out of here and let's make this world a better place. Now, I have to bring this up because this was something that was said that a lot of people had a problem with. Brittany Griner here. Now, before I talk about her statement on this, I will say that I did see it coming. I saw it coming. I was like, yo, and as soon as she gets to sit down and have a interview and they ask her, so, are you going to go back to Russia anytime soon? She was like, hell no. I'm not going back to Russia, and I'm not doing that because I just don't. And I think because you guys need to pay more attention to us so that we can get more dollars out here instead of trying to find them overseas. Now, as much as I agree with her, the reality of the situation is none of these reporters, none of these big stations, none of these big outlets are going to cover the WNBA the way that y'all want so that y'all can get the dollars and the revenue to actually make profit instead of fucking robbing the motherfucking league every year, because that's really what's happening. The league doesn't make that much money. They're losing money every year. They lose money every year. And to think, and here's the thing, this is what I think. Because of what happened to Brittany Griner, she was already a star in the WNBA. She already had a lot of looks on her. She already had a lot of eyes. She was that girl in the WNBA. Because of the situation that she had, I wouldn't put it past that conglomerate to feel like she is now a main voice for the WNBA. And the problem with her statement about not going back overseas is that you putting that in the atmosphere is going to make other women in the WNBA feel like they shouldn't go overseas in support of you, knowing damn well that the league isn't about to change nothing about the prices going up. They're going to keep it the same, and these women are going to continue to have to go overseas to make extra dollars during the pay gap. And not everybody decides to bring a motherfucking vape across the fucking sea with them into another country. Maybe these women actually pack responsibly so that they can actually go over there to handle business and get their bread and come back. So to say, no, you won't go back over there, I understand it from your standpoint. You probably are fucking traumatized. But you didn't think about the other players in the league, even though you made the statement about them paying attention to y'all more so that y'all don't have to do it. Please stay in reality. Please stay in reality. Now, one thing I do think is going to happen, though, is that, you know, thankfully they had a session in women's basketball in college that gave a spark to the future of the WNBA. Because that mentality and also that level of ball playing could actually bring more viewers. You know what I'm saying? I know Angel Reese is gonna get that deal. All right, there's already a deal on the table from a bunch of teams ready to grab Angel Reese so that they can not only get a good basketball player, but bring in some damn people to actually support their fucking organization. Same with Caitlin. What's her last name? Caitlin Clark. But it's not going to change overnight. It's not going to change next year. It's not going to change after that. These women still have to go across the seas so that they can make some money and that they can take care of themselves and their family. And it's unfair for you to have to sit there and kind of put their backs up against the wall to try to make a decision because you made a bad one. I don't know. Let me know if I'm tripping or not, but that's how I looked at it. I know you want to be the voice. I know you want to be out here and stand up for the people, but you got to think a little bit smarter than that. I wouldn't take you to be somebody that really overthinks a lot of things or tries to think too much about shit, seeing as you thought that you could bring a fucking vape in Russia as a WNBA player. And on top of that, a trans woman in a place, in a country that don't give a fuck about none of that. You had all the odds stacked against you. You need to think better than that. But here's what Brittany Griner had to say about trans people competing against biological women in sports.
Good morning, Brittany. I'm Bill Roden from ESPN Landscape. It's really great to see you. It's good to know the prayers have been answered. The question, you've always represented so much throughout your entire career about access and, being able to do stuff. And I hate to put one more thing on your plate, but there are a number of states who are aggressively moving to prevent transgender athletes playing. And I was wondering, again, I hate to put one more thing on your plate, but in terms of on your radar, where is that? You're going to have a tremendous platform, but where is that going to be on your radar in terms of advocating for, athletes, all athletes, transgender athletes, to be able to play?
Oh, I mean that ranks high on the list of things that I'll be fighting for and speaking up against. Everyone deserves the right to play. Everyone deserves the right to come here, sit in these seats, and feel safe and not feel like there's a threat or they can't be who they are or like it's just all eyes on them. So I think it's a crime, honestly, to separate someone for any reason. So I definitely will be speaking up against that legislation and those laws that are trying to be passed for sure.
I want Brittany Griner to run a pickup game with LeBron, KD, Steph. That's it. And you bring your best 10. Now, I'm not saying y'all ain't going to score. What I'm going to say is y'all going to get ran through that entire game. No holds barred. Don't take it easy. Dunk on these niggas. Let's see how your mentality is about intersecting this type of stuff in sports. I think it is unfair, and I'm not saying it from a standpoint of being anti-LGBTQ or transphobic. It's for the simple fact that women deserve equal chance to equality. Isn't that what y'all fucking push? Equality. How do you have equality when you have someone who used to be a man who is now turned themselves into a woman and identify as a woman, come through and box your ass out, put you in a crippler crossface, have you fucking in the full Nelson tapping out in an MMA ring? Swimming, all right. It's here or there, you know what I'm saying? If you can swim fast, you can't swim fast, it's on you. But like contact shit, like you're not finna, That is unfair. It's unfair, bro. Unfair. And I know y'all gonna say she played with not at a high level. Not at a high level. There's playing a pickup game and there's playing a real game in the NBA where people absolutely do not take it easy on you. You can't tell me that she played a pickup game with some dudes and they was fucking her up. Now, I know Brittany Griner could dunk in the NBA. I know Brittany Griner is damn near 7 feet. But she is slow. She does not have the strength. And she will get absolutely bodied. By the group that I just mentioned. That's a fact. That is a fact. Put them in a real game. Not a pickup game. Not no practices. Not none of that. Put them in a real game. Then we can have this conversation. And let me reiterate. I said it before I said all of that. I just said I didn't say that they wouldn't score. I didn't say none of that. I'm saying that they would get ran the fuck through in a real game. A real game. No practices. No pickup game at the Y. A real NBA game. You sign them to a contract and have them play a set amount of games. Let's see how that goes. Then you make me to be a liar. I will give you all the props in the world. I would apologize as many times as you put on a strap on, Brittany. I promise you. But until then, we'll see. Last but not least, Roy Wood Jr., comedian, and also somebody who is a part of The Daily Show, Comedy Central's This Is Happening Now, all types of stuff he is involved in. Roy Wood Jr. is a funny comedian. Now, what he did was he was a host, or he was somebody who came to roast, a host in the roast at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And he shook up the room a little bit because he talked about a few things. One of those things he put on blast was Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas, who he all out said that he was taking money from a billionaire and having influence by that guy. Basically said that he is owned by another man. Crazy. He also talked about a few other things. But one of those things that got on people's mind was his reaction, or what he had to say about drag queens and this whole epidemic of drag queens, I guess I don't know if they're going to schools, but I know that there's like this thing where parents are bringing their kids to drag shows or drag events or some shit. I don't know fully, so I'm not finna just say anything wild. But the interpretation, the thing that people think is happening is that drag people are going to schools and grooming kids and all types of shit, right? This is what Roy had to say in response to that.
And also, speaking of drag queens, can we stop with the grooming stuff? Can you stop talking about that? Drag queens are not at a school to groom your kids. Stop it. And even if they were, most of them kids gonna get shot at school. It ain't no problem. Don't grown pass legislation.
Don't grown pass legislation.
Don't bother me. I'm like Mitch McConnell. I ain't got no soul.
Now, here's the thing about that. I've seen quite a few things pass my way over the past year. Things that have been very questionable, things that I've actually spoke about on this show. I believe that there is an agenda. I just think that if we give that agenda any power, it would have influence. Does that make sense? If we give any agenda power, it will have influence. Doesn't matter what it is. It could be the LGBTQ agenda. It could be the black agenda. It could be the Stop Asian Hate agenda. It could be the Stop Jewish Hate agenda. It could be the Proud Boy agenda. Whatever agenda you give energy to, it will have influence. And we are in a generation now where I feel like kids are more confused than ever. And that's just the fact. And because of the fact that we have the social media era of people being heavily influenced. Influence is the word. I think people don't understand. Like, when I first heard the term social media influencer, I said, what the fuck is that? Do y'all even know? Like, do y'all even hear how that sounds? Social media influencer? Somebody to influence somebody, and then not just be something that's positive or productive or something that'll help teach somebody something that'll help them in life, but you just a bitch out here on fucking sand with her feet out next to the beach taking fucking extra HD photos, or some dude out here going on trips, going on boats and partying with hella hoes and thinking that that's just like what life is supposed to be for everybody in the fucking world, and have the influence over somebody to make them think that that's supposed to be the life they supposed to live. Social media influencer is probably the worst title, even though it pays. I can't stand that shit. There's a lot of influence when you have when kids are susceptible to being influenced, and then you start putting things into their heads, making them think that certain things are normal or okay, then they go for it without actually feeling that way. You're going to hear in the next 5 to 10 years more kids talk about how they made the wrong decision to do X, Y, and Z. And I think mainly it's going to be people who have identified as something else, or who claim to do, like, you know, like we see it. What's happening on No Jumper a couple months ago, having that Richard Spencer guy on there. He was one of the big alt-right racist and bigoted white supremacist loving motherfuckers in the world on the internet. Now all of a sudden he regrets the shit. You want to know why? It's not just because of that white guilt. It's because of that influence. He was influenced to do that. He was influenced to be a white supremacist loving, alt-right, white, right-wing, Proud Boy loving motherfucker. He was influenced to be that. The white boy who went into the church to shoot a bunch of black, or no, not the dude in the church, but the dude that went to the grocery store to shoot up a bunch of black people. What did he say in his statement? I was influenced by QAnon and by MAGA and by this and that, and I thought this. He was influenced. The word influence, this is why I say, if you have kids, it's very important for you to stay active in what you're teaching them and what you're trying to have them learn, because the internet is raising more kids than their own parents. That is a fact. The tablets, the phones, all that shit. It influences the kids, and it brings them to feel like they should be paying attention to this instead of paying attention to what's important. So it's not from a place of anti this or phobic that. It's, I want people to pay attention to reality. We are in a very influential time. And it's not out of the ordinary for a kid to be influenced and do some shit just because they want to do it, and not because they actually feel that way genuinely. So I encourage, or I support, not having to influence kids in any other way than trying to help teach them how to survive in this world. And going to drag shows is nowhere in the text or in the book of learning how to survive in this world. Majority of kids and adults would not know what to do if this world went to shit. They wouldn't know what to do to survive. How to grow food, how to hunt, how to defend themselves. Holy. You talk about a zombie apocalypse, humans will take each other out quicker than anything because we don't really know how to do shit. So I encourage y'all to stay on that. Stay on that with your kids, man. Teach them shit. Teach them survival tactics. They already trying to get rid of the dollar. Once after that, once actual machines crash and all the other shit, possibly, potentially, maybe, we are going to have to learn how to fend for ourselves. And if we don't know how to do that, it's going to be very quick for us to be extinct. We need to learn basic human survival. There's a lot of things we got to cut out of our kids' diets. The electronics, the social media, all that other bullshit. All right? And that's my message for the end of today's show. GMS fam, the green room. Thank y'all so much for pulling up on me today. I need y'all to hit the like button on the way out. Follow me on my socials. I'll follow everybody back. Hit the Cash App today if you're feeling generous. I most appreciate it. You can be a member of the GMS show by clicking the join button somewhere on your app or on your mobile device. Hit me in the comments section of this live when the video is over, man. When the live is over, I want to see y'all in that comment section, man. Gotta see y'all there, man. We going up on Instagram right now, man. A lot of shit going viral right now, man. Go ahead and go over there and support your boy. We going up. We going up. New music is on the way too, man. New music is on the way. I'm gonna shoot some videos. I'm gonna get this music out, man. It's time to take over in other areas. I feel like I have the right audience. It's time to display those other talents the right way. So y'all will be getting some visuals. You will be getting some new music soon. Stay tuned for that. Yes, sir. Gotta hit the gym too, man. Gotta go to the gym. Gotta get my gym on, man. I gotta go and get my workout today. Go get a nice little night session off. Gotta stay healthy, man. Gotta stay healthy. I see you, Jake. That's my gym buddy. That's my gym brother. Shout out Jake, man, my GMS family. Finna go get these reps in. Like I said, one more time, man, hit that like button on the way out. Follow me on my socials. I'll follow everybody back. Hit the Cash App today if you're feeling generous. Hit that join button. Hit the comment section when the live is over. I am looking for somebody who can help me on social media. All you have to do is watch one of my lives. Take a 2 to 3 minute clip from that live of something that was important or funny or interesting. Send it my way so I can post on social media, and that's it. You will get paid for this service. So if there's anybody out there who feels like they can take on this job and want to make a little extra money, just a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Nothing crazy, but it's just a little bit more, a little bit extra money on the side. If you're looking for that gig, I need somebody to clip some videos for me from these lives so that I can post on my Instagram and on my TikTok and on my Facebook, on my Twitter, all that shit. All right? And I'm going to pay somebody to do that. Hit me if you are interested, and we will make that shit happen expeditiously. I want to start this shit immediately. So hit me if you're interested. GMS fam, the Green Room. We out.